Yes, everybody, welcome back to Talking Wolves. Welcome back to a brand new transfer news and update video here on the channel. I hope you guys are keeping well and safe. And it's about 10 days or so now to go of the transfer window. But Wolves still hoping to be busy, still hoping to get some signings in. But who knows, we may still see a couple of players leave the club as well. Lots of news to get through today. So as always, do let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're new, the support has been phenomenal over the last few weeks or so. Let's jump into the first big story, which actually broke today. There's been whispers of it for a few weeks, to be honest, and they've not really come from reputable sources, so it's not really been worth looking into. But Pedro Neto has been, there's been talks now with Arsenal over the signing of Pedro Neto. Now, there's been no direct contact between Wolves and Arsenal, but all the liaison has been going through Jorge Mendes, who's been speaking to Arsenal and then liaising with Wolves. Obviously, Mendes, who is Pedro Neto's agent. Now, understood that Arsenal are huge admirers of him, both Edu and Mikel Arteta, huge admirers of Pedro Neto. It's an interesting one because obviously quite recently when he came back from his injury, Neto signed a new long-term contract with Wolves for about 5 years. Had an okay end to last season, really kicked on during pre-season. And, he started every game already this campaign. I was hoping that we'd see a goal or two from him already this season. There's been chances which he probably should have put away. But it's one of those where I think Wolves, the ball is really, Wolves aren't in a panic to sell. Wolves don't need to sell Pedro Neto. Yes, we signed Gonzalo, but I think that's purely for competition and so on. Yes, we're in the market for a striker, but that's not going to replace Pedro Neto. So I don't think Wolves, like I said, are in a panic to sell. I think it would take an enormous offer or a very decent offer for Wolves to accept, for at least Wolves to start considering it. Now, there's been, figures bandied about. I know a lot of Wolves fans are wanting that 60, 70 million pound plus mark. I think if Arsenal are coming in with 50 million plus, I think you talk about it. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on what you value Pedro Neto at. There's reports saying that Arsenal are prepared to offer as much as 35 million pounds, which I think is a bit of an insult, if I'm honest. But Wolves will be wanting at least 50 million pounds. But Arsenal said they won't be held to ransom, which of course is absolutely fine for Wolves. Top player Pedro Neto, we want to be keeping him around, and it's obviously going to take a huge offer if he were to go. I think, firstly, if this conversation was had maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, much earlier in the window, I think Wolves would be much more open to conversation. But we're into the sort of dying embers of the window now. It's going to be very, very hard for Wolves to sell Neto and then try and convince a winger of sufficient calibre to come in and replace him. So who knows? At the moment, still early days on those negotiations. I'm sure internally there's been talks going on for quite a while. But I'm sure we'll get a lot of information coming on this in the coming hours or days anyway. But striker search is very much on. We've had lots of rumours. Let's start off with the players that have almost batted Wolves back, or the least likely ones. So Andrea Belotti, Italian forward, left Torino, free agent. It was said in Italy that Wolves had offered him a contract, a very decent contract, and he'd rejected it. He was holding out for Jose Mourinho's Roma. In Italy today, or over the weekend, they've said that apparently Wolves gave Andrea Belotti another nudge and basically said, look, the offer's still there, do you want to join? And apparently he said no again, and he's waiting for Roma. So I think that puts the end to anything to do with Andrea Belotti. Gonzalo Ramos, the Benfica striker. Now, Bruno Lage was asked about this in his press conference on Friday, and Bruno Lage rejected that he'd had any contact with him and rejected that Wolves had any interest in Gonzalo Ramos. However, reports today in Portugal still believe that Wolves are willing to advance for some sort of deal for Gonzalo Ramos, but Benfica are demanding 40 million euros, which the Portuguese press think that Wolves could entertain before the end of the window. But fresh news today coming from very reputable sources in Germany and some of the top journalists from around the world that Wolves are in talks with Stuttgart from the Bundesliga for Sasa Kalajdzic, and he could be the newest striker for Wolves. Sasa Kalajdzic, who is a 6'7" striker. Very decent goal scoring record. Great goal contribution to game record as well. Struggled a little bit with injuries over the last few years, but when he's remained fully fit, he's got a phenomenal record. Not just on about a goal scorer here. We're on about someone that is going to bring different players into play. He's got a decent amount of assists to his name. He can drop in deep and find the pass. Now, apparently, verbally, there's some sort of agreement between Wolves and the player. The player is obviously open to a move to Wolverhampton Wanderers, but there's still some distance between Wolves and Stuttgart in regards to agreeing a fee. Stuttgart are wanting around 25 million euros, so just over 20 million pounds. Wolves are apparently looking at around 15 million pounds right now. So we'll see if the clubs can make some sort of agreement, but I'd be really intrigued to see this one. Offers something completely different to what we've had. The last Austrian big striker we had was Stefan Meyerhofer. I'm hoping Kalajdzic is much better than him, but it's going to be intriguing to see what happens with this signing. This is a player that was touted very heavily by Manchester United and Bayern Munich to replace Robert Lewandowski, and I think he's a player that, if you can keep him fit, is definitely a player that you're going to make some serious money on in the future, and hopefully add plenty of goals and something completely different to the Wolves setup. Things like this can move very, very quickly as well. Wolves are hoping to have some sort of agreement in the coming days. So obviously follow us on the social medias. If it gets any closer or confirmed, obviously we'll do a video on him as well. So Sasa Kalajdzic, the Austrian international, possibly the new striker for Wolverhampton Wanderers. We're talking about another outgoing now. Willy Boly, of course, 2 or 3 years ago was the best Wolves centre-back. He's really struggled with injuries. COVID really messed him about as well. And he struggled to break into the first-team picture under Bruno Lage, hasn't he? So over the weekend, Nottingham Forest, who have recently suffered quite a major injury to one of their centre-backs, Nottingham Forest have come in with an offer for Willy Boly for the grand total of just £1 million. Wolves have obviously rejected that. Forest are still in talks, hoping to find some sort of agreement. Nothing imminent, though, because Wolves believe they would still have to sign a replacement if Willy Boly were to go. But Nottingham Forest in the market for a centre-back. Will they return for Willy Boly? We'll wait and see. It'll be interesting to see if Boly takes any part in the club's Carabao Cup fixture tomorrow against Preston North End at Molineux as well. Always be great to see Boly playing a top centre-half. But like I said, unfortunately, injuries really messed him about a little bit. And to finish us off, just a loan move out for the under-21s. Joe O'Shaughnessy, the goalkeeper, 19 years of age, has joined Bradford City on a season-long loan. So it's a good opportunity for him to get some first-team experience out in the Football League. Guys, do let me know your thoughts on today's rumours. Neto and Sasa Kalajdzic, huge rumours going on, and it could be a really tasty final week or so of the transfer window. Let me know your thoughts. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you all very, very soon.